Geraldo Rivera. It really is becoming a daily take in more
Connell.
ways than one. You were Saturday and Sunday night, and now we're back together on Monday. There's a lot going on in this world, right?
We got to get a life.
We that's actually the takeaway. That's the actual daily take. What do you think is next to this whole thing now? We know kind of where Maduro is. We know where Trump is at, but that was quite a Q&A last night on the plane. You and I talked about Libby Dean, but Trump made a lot of comments. He was floating everything from Colombia to Cuba to Greenland. So where's this all going?
I think that, first of all, we have to relax and take in the good news. You know, take time to smell the roses. This gigantic kinetic operation, unprecedented in many ways, a historic scale, came off flawlessly and with no loss of American life. And when you consider the rhetoric of the Cuban bodyguards of Nicolás Maduro and their hatred for the United States, the fact is they were lambs, not lions, and the president of Venezuela has been humbled and is now being treated as an ordinary criminal, which is important because he's not the victim or the loser in a war. He's a crook. He's a dope-dealing crook. Therefore, he doesn't get presidential immunity. He doesn't get sovereign immunity. He's just going to be tried like every other dope-dealing crook in federal court. And the fact that he's being held in the Metropolitan Detention Center right around the corner from my old law school, that's really the ultimate indignity from his point of view.
In '89, because that was like, he wouldn't have gotten immunity, right? Because he was essentially a general, took over the country and was never considered, am I getting this right, the legit head of state, whereas Maduro is considered now by the world community to be illegitimate because he's accused of rigging elections. But at one point he was elected. I just wonder how you compare the two.
I think they're very similar. I think that to find differences is distinctions without differences. Noriega, I remember very well. The thing I remember most fondly is Noriega sought sanctuary as the head of state and as a Catholic. He sought sanctuary in the Vatican embassy in Panama. Right. And the way they got him out, the way the Americans got him out of the embassy and out of the sanctuary of the embassy was to play, AC/DC and the Clash and other punk rock bands. The music was so discordant. Yeah, it worked like a charm. But Noriega passed away in prison. He was a big, braggadocious, swaggering crook. They weren't going to touch him either, and he ended up dying in prison, very, very humbly. Just a nobody, a footnote in history. And if it wasn't for what was going on in Venezuela, you wouldn't even be thinking of Manuel Noriega, who at the time was a swaggering, head of the like the Jets.
So that's where you think Maduro's headed to. Is Maduro another footnote, however many years from now?
I do. I think that when I heard the specifics of the charges and the evidence that they proposed to introduce before a jury of informants and recorded conversations and surveillance video and paper trail for all the dope dealing, if he were not a putative head of state, he'd just be another El Chapo. I think maybe that's a closer example. He's very humble. I remember Saddam Hussein, another one, famous one we covered at the end. Where did Saddam Hussein, who was going to direct the mother of all war, Saddam Hussein ended up in a wormhole, the northern part of Iraq, putting sand over himself so he wouldn't get caught. He ultimately ended up facing the hangman's noose. I don't see that in Maduro's fate because he's not charged with any capital crimes. But the charges against him are very significant. And if indeed he goes to trial on these charges, the odds are he will be found guilty and will be spending the rest of his natural life behind bars there.
You see his lawyer? It was the guy who did Assange, the WikiLeaks guy. That's the lawyer he brought in today for, I don't know what that means, but
that's a fine lawyer. I think that the key, the war will be fought over this one issue. Is Maduro a head of state, or is Maduro just a dope dealer? that they have to sort that out, and they'll argue that, they'll appeal the decision in that. This thing's not only not starting for another year.
I know.
But I think that even then it'll be delayed because
I keep hearing that, Geraldo, but the judge is 92, Just saying.
Believe me, I can relate to the judge. I wake up every morning and say, hey, I'm still breathing.
Believe that, though? A judge still going, 92. He's one of the oldest.
But imagine that he wants to keep the case. That's the interesting thing is,
right.
He's not only 92, but he has the ability as the supervising judge there to assign that case to any of the younger men and women who are presiding. Instead, he decided to keep it himself, which means he's going to be dealing with these complex issues. I doubt that, well, we'll see, but as of right now, Maduro tried his best to raise the issue that, no, I'm president of the Venezuelans, they love me. The fact is, Maduro is, and I think we need to state this for the record, extremely unpopular. He's not like the person that he has followed in office. He's not like Hugo Chávez.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.